I want to thank the government of Saudi Arabia for being here. And this is really a watershed moment because when you think of a country like Saudi Arabia, it is reinventing itself in this moment and using sustainability as the driver for everything it is doing. And we are surrounded by many very beautiful images explaining what they are trying to do to rewild their land, to protect degraded land, to bring cultures up from poverty, and to make a richer environment here. And so being here in Saudi Arabia is really a very thrilling experience. And because I'm a water-focused person, I'm very excited about the World Water Forum to be held here in 2027. And the hope is that we can all come back together again. It's very hard in these environments to listen to so much information and to really absorb what everybody is saying. And so I believe in the power of film. I am a film and picture researcher, and I'm very honored to now be a partner with the global network of water museums and to work with them with Let's Talk About Water, Mayors Make Movies, and to present the fact that we are going to start a new film competition, a short film competition with cash prizes, and they are going to be open to the public, and we will be launching it in March around World Water Day in Trento in honor of the opening of a new office of the Global Network of Water Museums. So you are hearing a lot of language and a lot of words about ancient hydro technologies, about the Water Film Prize, about Global Network of Water Museums, about Let's Talk About Water, Mayors Make Movies. What does this all mean to you? You're so kind to come and sit here and listen to us and for everyone to be talking. But the key and another thing I want to say to you, we gather together before we come on stage and talk to each other to prepare our presentations. And the gentleman from Saudi Arabia said one of the most important things. We spend a lot of time going to meetings. We spend a lot of time writing reports. We share our reports. The reports pile up on our desk. We feel guilty we haven't read them. Then we go to more meetings. We get on more airplanes. We travel over and over again. But how can we reach young people? How can we solve the problems of climate change that are only getting worse? And here at this COP16, how can we look at desertification and really find solutions? And to me, one of the key elements is communication. And one of the tools that I think best serves communication are films. I believe in the power of film, but I also believe in the power of a short film. And so I have now partnered with, I've been invited to work with the Global Network of Water Museums and create this competition, which we will launch in March and will be open to the world, but will be focused on arid lands, arid environments, and desertification. And what we did is, and you're also hearing a lot about UNESCO and IHP and IHP 9 and 2022 to 2029. And these are phrases that we all have gotten used to expressing. But I would like to share a little bit about myself and a little bit about the role of IHP. Because IHP is a concept I had heard of for many years, and I had never really understood how valuable it is and how it links to the Global Network of Water Museums. So I'm now going to talk about myself, my favorite subject. I am a picture and film researcher. So when you see documentary films and you see old footage before internet, because I'm quite old, we would go to archives and libraries and look at images and give them to the director to make a movie. I specialized in science and history, and at one point in my career, I worked on an exhibition at another museum called the American Museum of Natural History in New York. Does anybody know that museum or have visited New York? It's a very great museum, and the subject was climate change, forecasting global warming, forecasting the future. And this was in 1992, so that's a very long time ago. And I thought, you know what? This subject is happening. This subject is not going to be stopping, and it's very confusing because you have like biology, geology, chemistry. All of a sudden you have biogeochemistry, and you're forced to try to understand things that are really hard to understand. And I thought to myself, I'm going to focus my career now on how to communicate this subject. And I found water to be the best entry point, because you either have too much, too little, or it's too dirty. And the problems that arise of sea level rise, of salinization of groundwater, all water-related issues come from climate change. And so how can we address this? So I thought, okay, water scientists are measuring things. They need to tell us what they're measuring. I'm going to work with them and have them look at films and open a discussion like this and have them speak in a language that's more simple so that more people can understand it and more students would sign on to become hydrologists and help us solve our problems. So I spent 20 years working with water scientists, only to realize that water scientists really like, and not to blame them or criticize them, they talk to each other, their rewards are in publishing, and their academic careers are what are most important. And communication is not rewarded in any way at all. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to move my work into water policy people. And I thought, this is going to be great. I'll go to the OECD in Paris. I'll become part of the Water Governance Initiative. I'm very proud that I am part of that group. And I realized that it's the same problem. People in water policy speak a very technical language. They write the reports. We have the science reports on this side. We have the policy reports on this side. And the problems get worse. Like Jordi mentioned, 58 degrees in Barcelona. This is a very serious number and a very serious problem. And it is only getting worse as we go to more meetings and have more reports and do the same thing like we are doing now. And so then I realized, what is the next step? And I was given a blessing by God, really, to meet Heriberto and to learn about the global network of water museums. Why? Why is that important? Because museums are tasked with communication. Whether it's a grand museum, like the beautiful museum in Marrakesh, or an eco-museum, which is a collection of people sitting in a forest, looking at the trees around them, the dirt underneath their feet, the leaves above them, so that the continuum of the Grand Museum to the Eco Museum is a very important platform in order to show films that are about water. And so I created a competition, and I worked with UNESCO IHP in Latin America, in Montevideo. And I realized people are most concerned about where they are from, and they feel most connected. Thank you. Talk about water. I'm schwitzing, as we say in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I have my Madonna moment. I'm sorry. In other words, the idea of the museum, museums have spaces like this: chairs, a stage, a screen, or a small room where these short films can be shown. And so we hosted a very wonderful competition with IHP, LAC, Latin America, and the Caribbean. And we just awarded prizes to 10 winners, and these films can now be shown anywhere. They're on the website of what I have called Let's Talk About Water. Was the initiative I created in the beginning with the scientists. When I worked with the policy people, I also wanted to engage young people, and I thought, let's think of how we can break the barrier between young people and the positions of power. I created a project called Mayors Make Movies. Sounds great, doesn't it? The idea that young people using their iPhones can actually go into an office of a mayor and feel like they can ask questions, how are we going to solve our problems? And so we did that. But each of these things, in a way, failed. And so now, the idea that these short films, in working with UNESCO IHP and working with the global network of water museums, we are now launching a new competition that we're going to hopefully call Back to the Future. And Back to the Future is a wonderful way of encapsulating the importance of ancient hydro technologies. And this phrase is a very is a very academic sounding phrase or a very elusive sounding phrase, but in each of the presentations, when you see the images of the different technologies that were used many years ago, you realize just as we are protected by ecosystem services, ancient hydrologic technologies are using forces of nature. They're using gravity, they're using retention, they're using preservation, they're using extraction, and all of the subject within ancient hydrologic technology, as dense as it may appear from the outside, inside the subject. And here in Saudi Arabia, the history of ancient hydrologic technologies is very, very vast, and depending on the geographical location, different solutions were created over all these many years. And so I'm honored to take the idea of this Latin American prize based in Latin America. See the map? It's of Latin America. We will do the same now here in Saudi Arabia, in the Gulf states, and expand it to desertification happening in other parts of the world. And so I'm honored to be here talking to you. I'm honored to be here in Saudi Arabia. I'm honored to be with everyone that's on this stage. And hopefully you will join us in telling your colleagues and in applying to our competition. And we'll have more information on the website of Let's Talk About Water, Mayors Make Movies. And there is a wonderful press release. We wanted to call it Back to the Future. Do you know the film Back to the Future? Anyone know that film? It's actually a very famous film, and so we're a little concerned about copyright issues. But if we can keep this title, it's very wonderful in embracing what ancient hydrologic technologies are all about, because we look to the past, we get ideas from the past, and we apply them to the present, and that way we can make a better future. So I thank you for listening. I thank you for coming. I'm honored to be part of the Global Network Water Museums and part of this team. And I thank you so much to the hosts of Saudi Arabia to be here. And I look forward to a fantastic meeting in 2027. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you.